Restaurant Unstoppable. Inspire, empower, and transform the industry.
There's a lot of like just a little bit of putting a plan together and then executing against that plan is a lot more effective than operating out of the fear of saving money.
Yes, what I was thinking during that entire time that was coming to my mind is the idea of being reactionary versus being intentional. And what you described when you're just lowering your labor expenses, you're being reactionary. You're like, oh crap, our margins aren't good. We need to spend less. And then if you're not spending the money on the resources you need, the people, right, the good people you need to do the job, then you're not going to do a good job, and then your margins are going to get even worse because nobody's going to come back.
Yep.
Is that did I
totally 100%? Yeah,
I love that. So when it comes to putting a plan together, I think you mentioned it, but like, what's the keystone, like the thing we need when it comes to putting a labor plan together? I think you said it was starting.
Well, so we start with sales and labor projections. Okay. Right, and so we need to have a good sales target, and then we target labor by day, and then that weights out to like a labor by percentage for the week, and then we take that, and then that influences when we write our schedule. It tells us, is our schedule on that labor plan or off that labor plan? And so by the time the schedule is published, we know that it matches the plan that we hit based on our, and all that takes like 10 minutes, right?
What dictates the labor expense or the labor plan? Is it just a budget?
Yeah, so I mean, I think people can start with a budget. I think the best way to do it is to go get involved and run a service where you just crush it, right? Everything's on point, everything's perfect, and then what was your labor? There's your labor budget, right?
What did that take?
Right.
I agree, and I think that it's also then looking at how can we do this better, right? And like once you find that sweet spot, it's like little tweaks, but not dramatic tweaks like you're saying. Like, what can we do to streamline, be 1% better, like every day, right?
Yeah, it's like dialing the knobs on the mixer. You just dial it in
until what's the trick, in your opinion, to be able to do what you just described? What's the one thing you need?
Well, I think you need financial awareness.
Yep.
And I think you got to stop and get a handle on what your sales are trending, so you can make a good plan for your sales. Because everything starts with your plan for your sales, and then that flows through. You calculate your percentages against that. That tells you how much you can spend each day on labor, and then when you go run your labor plan during the day, if you're looking at a tool that'll show you against your plan, you can operate against it, and then adjust the next week.
And I agree. I think what I was thinking, the answer I had in my mind, and I think this aligns perfectly with what you said, was you got to track. If you're not tracking it, you don't know how you're doing versus one day to the next day. And you said financial awareness.
Yeah,
that's just tracking.
You can't manage what you can't measure, right?
Yeah.
So what's this guy's name? There's a guy I forget what his name is. He was a famous economist. He went over to Japan after we blew them up.
I know you're
after
talking
World War II, and he helped them put the country back together. His name's
I know the quote, and I know who you're talking about, but it's escaping me. It'll probably come back to me in like 2 minutes.
Anyway, that was his whole thing. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it.
Yeah.
But the challenge in restaurants is measuring it in a time-efficient manner, right? Because everybody's like, you're like, well, do I run service right now, or do I go to the office and run spreadsheets?
It's not Guy Kawasaki, is it?
No. I'll find it in a second.
No, it's bothering me.
Yeah.
So, like, let's zoom to like 30,000 feet real quick. And I usually, when I'm doing these interviews, I also like to kind of dive deeper into like your come up, but as far as I could tell, you didn't have any experience in the restaurant industry, but it does sound like you had entrepreneurs in your business because your parents had money that they were able to lend you, so there was some success in your family.
Well, it was actually helped guarantee a loan.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they were using their credit essentially.
Peter Drucker was his name.
That's the name. Yeah.